This video is on distribution and combining like terms. So first I want to combine like terms. Like terms are terms that have identical stuff after the number, identical letters and powers after the number. Here I have 6a plus 3a plus 5a. After the number, all I have is a. Everything after each term, by the way, there's 3 terms here, is exactly the same, A. It's like saying 6 apples plus 3 apples plus 5 apples. What you do is add the numbers in front. 6 plus 3 is 9. 9 plus 5 is 14. You don't change the stuff after it, the A's after it. So it's just like adding apples together. 6 apples plus 3 apples plus 5 apples equals 14 apples. The next one, combining like terms. A's cannot be added with A squares. Everything after the number has to be identical. These two are not identical. One's an A, one's an A square. So it has to be identical after the number. So I can add A's with A's. 3A and a plus 6A, 3 and 6 is 9A. Now I want to add the A squares. I have 4A square and I have a minus 2A square. So I have a positive 4 and a minus 2. 4 minus 2 is a positive 2A squared. You see, we're just doing the numbers in front. The A square part doesn't stay the same. So my answer is 9A plus 2A squared. A's and A squares cannot add together. They're not the same. So I can add A's with A's, A squares with A squares. Items have to be exactly the same to be able to add together. Here, before I can add, I have to do something called distribute. Anytime you have a number outside of a parentheses, 4 next to a parentheses means 4 times a parentheses. What you have to do is take this 4 and multiply it times each term in the parentheses. So I'm going to take 4 and multiply it times 3a. Then I'm going to take the 4 and multiply it times the 8. This 4 is outside this parentheses, so I have to take the 4 and multiply it times 3a. 4 times 3 is 12a. Then I have to take the 4 times 8. 4 times 8 is a positive 32. Next, I'm going to distribute this 2. There's a 2 outside this parentheses. It's not just a 2, it's a negative 2. Even though it says minus 2, it's the same thing as saying negative 2. So negative 2 times a, and then we're going to do negative 2 times a negative 7. So negative 2 times 3a, negative 2 times 3a, 2 times 3 is 6, negative times a positive is a negative. Negative 2 times 3a is a negative 6a. Then negative 2 times a negative 7, negative times a negative is a positive 14. So we just did distribution. Distribution is another word for multiply any number outside of a parentheses times each term in the parentheses. Once we did distribution, do you notice the parentheses disappear? All we do is combine like terms now. I have 12a and I have a plus 6a. 12 plus 6, I have 18a. Now let's just do the numbers. 32 plus 14. There's no a after them. These are just adding numbers. 32 plus 14 is a positive 46. My final answer is 18a plus 46. Do you see these two cannot be added? They're not like terms. This is 18a's. This is just 46 numbers by himself. They can't be added. They're not the same. Okay, here we go. We're going to take 4a times 7a. 4a times a negative 2. Then we're going to take 3 times 2a and 3 times 3. 4 times 7 is 28. A times a is a squared. So when you multiply a times a, you get a to the second power. 4 times 7 is 28. A times a is a squared. 4a times a negative 2. 4 times a negative 2 is a negative 8. And there's just one a here. 4a times a negative 2 is a negative 8a. 3 times 2a. A positive 3 times a positive 2a is a positive 6a. 3 times 3 is a positive 9. So we distribute this 3 to each term in the parentheses. Now here's some numbers outside the parentheses. You can't distribute to them. You can only distribute or multiply times each term in the parentheses. We still have to add these to our problem, 3a and a minus 5. So these are still part of the problem, but they just don't get distributed to because they're not in the parentheses. Now we're going to combine like terms. 28a squared. There are no other a squares, so my answer is going to have 28a squared in it. Now I'm looking for all the a's. There's a negative 8a, a positive 6a, and a positive 3a. Negative 8 plus 6 plus 3. 6 and 3 is 9. Negative 8 plus 9, I have a positive 1a. If I add up all the a's, negative 8 plus 6 is a negative 2. Negative 2 plus 3 is a positive 1a. Now I'm going to do the numbers. A positive 9 and a negative 5. 9 minus 5 is a positive 4. This is my answer. I'm going to clean it up a little. This can also be written as 28a squared plus 1a. Another way of saying 1a is just by writing a plus 4. So here's my answer. A's cannot be added with a squares. Don't forget, they're not the same. And 1a is the same thing as saying a. That's the video on how to distribute and combine like terms. Thank you for watching the video.